Hello, friends. Welcome to the Oh My Goodness podcast. My name is AJ Smith, she, her, the Joy Weaver. Today, we are diving into imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, because sometimes we think we're special and we're the only ones that get nervous. But no, this is an across the board thing. The only people who don't really feel this are psychopaths. So if you're like, oh, who am I? Don't worry. Everybody has those moments. And it's just honestly, I think this is my filter that it's a practice of being like, I am the one who shows up even though I am the one who practices trying new things and putting myself out there, right? Like it's this acknowledgement of like, I know sometimes I feel like this, and I'm going to show up in this new way, and I'm going to try this, and I'm going to trust that I belong in this room because I belong in every room I walk in because I exist, right? Okay. Also, if you're on the YouTube, I just dyed my hair, or on the Spotify because I'm uploading the videos now. Look, oh, it is so good. So it's like purpley and a little like dark pink and blue and the emerald, which turned into royal blues because color theory, I guess. Um, but I wanted to share this because I am rolling out tomorrow. You're not going to hear this for a few weeks, but tomorrow we drive to Sherwood Forest Fair for grown up summer camp. And I am so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. We went for the first time 5 years ago, I think. I don't know. Yes, 2022, 21. I don't know. It was right before we moved to Korea, and 21 because COVID was still happening. And I had the time of my life. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is delightful. I did candle making, and I think I did leather working. Yeah, because I made a belt. I did wood burning. We did, I think, not whiskey making, mead making. It was mead making. And it's funny because I got sober a month later. Yeah, that's right. I got sober a month later, so I never got to actually taste my mead that I made. And I did another class. I can't remember what it was. Oh, herbalism. And I was like, man, there's no henna person. I was like, man, wouldn't that be cool? One day I could teach henna. And they were like, hey, next year, do you want it? And I was like, yes. And then we were in Korea. So then it was a no. um, but last year, when we moved back to the States, I sent a message to Teach, who is the director of the summer camp. And I was like, so that henna teaching, yes? And he was like, yes, of course. And I was like, sweet. And so I taught henna last year. And so it was three classes. I taught three classes each day for 3 days. And they were 1 hour each. And it was astounding and it was amazing. And the way that I teach henna, I have learned from women of color. And I can put down I'll put in the show notes some of the people that I have learned from, taking classes from, some of my favorite people to follow. Henna Society is a group on Facebook of a bunch of henna artists who encourage and uplift one another. Glory to Henna. 2K is on Instagram. She's one of my teachers. And a part of my proceeds goes to Kiva Loans. And you can choose, like, part of my proceeds from henna and from my business. I don't know if you know this, goes towards Kiva Loans. And so I pick usually women of color in the green belt where henna is made, for sewing machines, for animals, things like that. But women, entrepreneurs, business owners in like Morocco, Pakistan, um, Egypt, sometimes India, um, yeah, all over, of helping them fund their dreams. And then the money they pay it back, and then I get to pay it forward again, right? So I'm always adding in money, but then the money comes back in and I send it back out. So it's this cool just system, right? And so the way I think about henna is this gift that I've been given that I get to give to other people. The way I was taught is henna is a way of embodying your skin in a way that honors the sacredness of it. That is how I was taught. That's how I teach. And that also, it's a practice and it's a play. It's a practice of being, I know I already said embodied, but it's a practice of adorning your skin, like honoring the time and the moment and being really intentional. And so for some people, it feels more like fun art. And that is also true and great. And also, anytime that we take part of an art form from a culture that is not originally ours, I think it's also worthy of talking about what it means, right? For me to wear henna is different than if somebody who is brown wears henna, you know, whether they're Pakistani or Muslim or from Morocco or India or Egypt. Or I just had a conversation with somebody from Nigeria the other day, and he's like, you know, my family does this. And I was like, I understand. He's like, why are you? And I was like, well, this is how I was taught. I'm a henna artist, you know, blah, blah, blah. So we had the conversation. He's like, oh, okay. And, you know, we just talked about a variety of things. And so sometimes people are like, why do you have so much henna? It's like, this is what feels good, you know? And, and so I try to share and teach in a way that I also got taught and, was told that I can share as well. Does that make sense? Um, so I say all this because imposter syndrome, as I'm preparing to teach henna, and I'm also about to teach tarot, but I'm going to get into that for a second, is that there's a part of me that's like, who do I think I am for teaching henna? Like I should not be teaching henna. I don't know anything about henna. I've not lived for thousands of years with henna. So like, there's got to be somebody else. Like, I think there's a henna a vampire somewhere that's going to teach this henna class in Texas Sun. I don't think so. Um, but there's a part of me that's like, why did I say yes to this? There's nothing I know that I can teach them. I don't know anything about henna. I'm just so new. There's so much to learn. There's so much to know. Y'all, I don't know if y'all have gone down the rabbit hole that is mehendi and henna and culture and history. Like, what is this song? Deep and wide. Like, there's so much. And the moment I get good at something or a new pattern, there's like five more. I mean, there's always more. But I mean, people are doing cool ass shit with henna lately that has me just like mind boggled. I feel like I'm in awe all the time about our henna community and people teaching in beautiful, cool ways. And so there was a part of me when I woke up this morning that's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know anything. And then I remembered that actually I do. I do know what I'm doing. I've been a henna artist for over 10 years now, which is wild to say. I've learned from a variety of people in community. I have literally taught this exact class before. I mean, this year I'm doing a couple things differently. We're going to be talking about henna painting as well and some nuances with that. Um, and I've taught henna classes around the world in multiple places, also because I've lived all over the world. But regardless, it's been around. So I have all of this evidence that literally I teach henna. Literally, I've done, gosh, thousands of people's henna. I've done bridal henna. I've taken classes for bridal henna as well. I've done baby henna, not henna on babies, but people who are pregnant with babies, like their baby bellies. I've done hands. I've done baby showers and party. Like I've done all of this henna and I've taught all of these classes. And I've also seen people, even people who culturally come from henna, but have not been able to lean into the art of mehendi, which is culturally the henna name. So henna art is kind of like there's a conversation, and for those who are not part of the henna world, there's a conversation about mehendi being more of traditional henna focused and the art form that it came from, and henna being kind of more of the umbrella term of henna, specifically if you are white and using. So that's a whole other conversation we're not going to dive into today, but that's kind of why I'm switching back and forth. But I've had people who are Indian that are like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this. Like, thank you so much for teaching me this. Right. So there's been this cool interconnection and interconnectivity of henna and teaching it that has been so nourishing and so beautiful to watch, and people coming alive using their intuition to use henna as a gift, as an art for themselves, for their friends, to start businesses, all of the things, right? And especially when it comes to black henna, people don't know about galacha and red henna, black henna, orange henna, fast staining henna, quick staining henna. If you don't know, henna is natural, right? So henna comes from henna. I'm totally going to chop this up right now because it's early. There's the henna plant, henna leaves. Let's just do that. Sorry. This is what I get for recording a podcast at 7:30, but Jess is coming soon and I wanted to get this podcast up because I was like, oh, this is going to be a good topic. Is that henna itself the paste is made from four things, could be adjusted, right? So there's the henna powder, which is like sifted. There's the essential oil, which theoretically, technically, maybe you don't need, but the terps in there, like darken, they do the science. We're not diving into it. So I'm giving you the very short form. Um, but it helps deepen the stain because the paste is staining your skin, right? It's stain like the keratin, it's bonding proteins, the whole thing. Okay. And then you have your sugar, which connects, like bonds everything, right? So the sugar is like making it sticky. It's like adhesive essentially. And then water, which is like getting everything to melt into each other, right? So you got to mix it up. But some people use tea, some people use apple juice, people use different kind of oils, people use tea tree or eucalyptus or I like using lavender because it's good on sensitive skin across the board. I used to use a mix that I really love and is one of my favorites, but it has wild orange in it. And then I had somebody who had a citrus allergy and they had a reaction. And in 10 years of doing henna, I've only had that one reaction, but it was enough that I was like, okay, lavender here on out. Because I was like, what? Because that had never happened to me before. But she had some other specific stuff. Anyways, moving on. That is henna. Black henna, quick staining henna. So when you put on natural henna onto your skin, right? And I just did this last night. So do you see how orange my henna is? And then my palm is darker because your palm is warmer. Also, I slept in a glove. It needs to sit on the skin for at least 4 hours, 2 at the minimum. But I like 6 to 8 hours. Leave it on your skin, and then you take it off with oil, olive oil, vegetable, coconut oil. It doesn't really matter. And then, like, try not to get it wet for the first 12 hours. Did I already wash my hand this morning before putting on oil? Absolutely. Do what I do. Do what I say, not what I do. But I should go put on oil because I totally forgot this morning when I was taking it off and I was scrubbing. And then it turns orange, right? We're orange right now. And then it'll darken into a nice deep stain over the next 2 days. And what it's happening is it's deepening the redness of your skin. So I have more contrast on my skin than maybe somebody who is darker than me, but they're going to get much deeper, dark red, burgundy, brown than I will. Does that make sense? Henna is never black. It's never black. And so when you see black henna or something like that, that's golacha. And the frustrating thing is natural. The word natural is not FDA regulated. Henna is not really FDA regulated. And so people can put whatever they want into henna paste and be like, oh yes, this is all natural, and sell it on Amazon and it's shelf stable. Henna, real natural henna, not shelf stable. No. If it is shelf stable, it's shady shit. If it comes in a pack on Amazon and they don't tell you to immediately put it in the freezer, yeah, no. So what happens is people get henna off of Amazon and then they put it on their skin and it has PPD in it, which is turpentine, kerosene, and gasoline, can permanently scar your skin and make you allergic to black dye and actually allergic to henna because it like melds with henna. And so then it like triggers henna in your body to be like, hey, the henna is bad too. So even if you have natural henna in the future, then you'll be allergic to that. It's just terrible. And I've seen the burns. Have you ever seen that? I went on vacation and I got henna and all I got was this like scar and like, why is it itching? Why is it raising? Like, oh my God. And the really sucky part is when you are traveling, what you are going to come up against most often is black henna. And it breaks my heart because every time I travel, I'm so excited because I'm like, oh, maybe I'll meet another henna artist. And like, honestly, a lot of times the henna on the street, wherever you go, Florida or even abroad, is black henna. And I've gone up to henna artists before and been like, oh, ooh. And then the question I ask, and here's how I want you to ask it, because there's other questions you can ask, but you're not going to remember those. Not because I doubt you, but because I've said this so often and seen what happens when people try to remember my questions and then it gets twisted. I go, oh, do you have quick staining henna? Because I'm gonna like swim in a little bit. I'm going to go to the pool in like 2 hours. Do you have any of that black henna that like stains really fast? And if they're like, oh yeah, totally. I got you, girl. I'm like, oh, that's my mom calling. I got to go. And I'm like, okay, I'll be back later. That means they have black henna. Black henna or quick staining henna or golacha, whatever, can stain your skin in 15 minutes. And like, yes, you get a beautiful stain. Yes, it is dark. Yes, it is even. It is burgundy all the way up your arm. Wood that henna could stain like that. That is a chemical stain that can scar your skin. Maybe not now, maybe not next time, maybe not 10 times from now. It might be a year, or it could be the first time. You don't know. You do not know. You don't know. And so just don't. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Use natural henna. So if they're like, hey, because if somebody were to come up to me and ask that, and they have in the past, of like, oh, I'm going swimming later. I'm like, hey, so with natural henna, you really don't want to get it wet for the first 12 hours. If you want, get your henna now, just 2 hours at least minimum. You won't have as deep of stain, but then you'll still get a stain. But if you can put some oil on before you hop in the water, that'll help as well. And they're like, okay, yeah, I'll totally get henna. Or like, oh, thanks for letting me know. No, I'm gonna go swim, so it's fine. If your person does not explain that situation, then like run, because either they have black henna and it will stain, and then you'll go swimming and you'll have a nice stain, or you'll have a nice stain and a scar. I don't know, options. Or option two, they have natural henna, but they don't care and they just want your money. And that feels kind of gross to me, to not give somebody a heads up about swimming 2 hours after, especially if it's chlorine or especially salt water, because salt water is like a natural exfoliant. Makes sense? So I say all this to explain, I know my shit. I know the henna world. I've been in it. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing festivals and markets and appointments and like, I know it. And yet I woke up this morning being like, who do I think I am to teach this henna class this summer? Regardless of the fact that last summer I had people crying in my henna class, being like, I didn't think I was artistic. I didn't think I'd ever be able to do this. And here I am making beautiful pieces. And I just did art on somebody. I had people being like, oh my gosh, my grandma did this on me when I was younger, and I haven't had this in years. And now I feel so connected to my lineage, my family. Thank you so much, Runa. Runa is my SEA name, my fairy name, my Ren Fair name, my soul name. So Runa AJ. There was people who have taken henna classes in the past that felt like they were getting lectured and not like they were getting invited into a sacred tradition that has gone on for centuries, right? There is a difference in the way that I teach. This is not me throwing other people under the bus. It's just me sharing what other people said. There's a difference in the way that I teach as a practice and an invitation to explore something beautiful and how it can weave into your life. Okay. That's how I teach henna. So I'm very excited for that. And there's a part of me this morning that's like, oh no. Now, moving on, I'm also going to be teaching Tarot 101. And I have taught, not this class exactly, but I've taught tarot multiple times at this point. I've taught multiple different tarot classes. And people teach tarot in a lot of different ways. And I'm also having a moment of, I know nothing. My name is Jon Snow. Why am I teaching henna? Or why am I teaching henna? Why am I teaching tarot? Like, I've only been reading for 5 years, and I've only been reading this much and doing this and teaching these classes. Like, but like, I don't know all the history. Like, y'all, the henna history is a lot, but like the tarot history is a whole situation. And then like it's constantly evolving with new research, but the esoteric, and then people get really intense. I don't know if you're listening to this, if you know, in any culture, in any religion, people get really intense. People get really intense about tarot, and like the right and wrong ways to use it, right? And it can be very amplified of who's in and who's out, and the right way to. And when I got in, I was still, okay, I was receiving somatic experiencing. It's kind of like a therapy of like body energetics, but like your body, like the experience of being in your body, and your body holds memory. It's a whole thing. Somatic experiencing, look it up. 10 for 10. Ali to Jesus is in San Antonio and does it. I'll post their link. They're amazing. They're who I've learned from for, I did 2 years with them, and highly recommend. But when, oh, okay, so I was at their place, and she had oracle cards, Kuan Yin oracle cards up on the thing. And I was deconstructing my faith. Like we were going to an Episcopalian church that was actually inclusive, like actually all are welcome, actually. Like, yes, come, had LGBT outreach, the whole 9 yards. It was great. And the goddess had shown up at that point. And was I sober at this point? No, I wasn't. I wasn't yet. And it was just there was a lot going on. And I was asking a lot of questions. And I kind of felt myself torn because I wasn't witchy enough for the pagans and I wasn't Christian enough for the Christians. And I was like, all of these things feel true for me. I don't know where to sit. I don't know where I belong. I don't know what to do with myself, which I think there needs to be a whole podcast about faith because that's a whole situation. But because I'm going to have Angela Harrington on here, and she's a faith deconstruction coach, and she's one of my favorite humans. And we've been trying to make it work for 5 months and schedules. Anyways, she had this deck, and there was a day I remember, and I just felt so called to it. And she noticed me looking at it. She's like, "Do you want to see my cards?" And I was like, "Is that okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, of course it's okay." So I was like, "Oh, yeah, that would be cool." And so she pulled them down and I like touched the deck. When I tell you, my whole body vibrated, it like, I don't know what to say except for just like, it just felt like my whole body came alive in a whole new way. And it was just like a, like in the movie and the sound system, THX or whatever it is, and this like, right before the movie in the old ones in like the 2000s, that's what it felt like in my body. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, did you feel that? And she's like, no, but I saw it. Like, what? And I was like, I don't even know. So I opened it up and it was just like words were flowing. Like I could feel the words from the deck. Just like as I was looking through them, it was just like getting snapshots of chatter and talking. Like it was like I was unboxing a mall, like people talking. Like it was wild. It was wild. And I was like, what is I was like, and I was telling her about it. And I was like, do you know? And they were like, I mean, yeah, but not like this. And she's, do you want to borrow these? I was like, yes, please. So I borrowed them and started practicing. And it was just, I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to know more. And so I got into it. And then I got my first tarot deck, my first oracle deck. And so I think my first deck was, what is it? The Light Workers Oracle deck. And then my first tarot deck was Moonchild by Danielle Noel. And I got it and it was clear as a bell, clear as a day. I still have it. It's my favorite deck. I use it to this day for all of my readings. I actually use both. Isn't that interesting? My first decks of both are the ones I still use to this day. And they're my favorites. They're my go-tos. A lot of people swap in and out. I really can't. Not that I can't, but like, I like the decks I like. And I have tried other decks and they don't feel the same. They don't feel the same. And I've had decks that feel spicy or weird. But the way that I took classes and I learned, and even though I have, and this is something I'm bringing to class, the simple tarot cheat sheet, and it's from Angie Green, the simple tarot. And it like explains all these things. What happens for me when I read is I lay it out and the story just comes. It just, hey, here's what I'm seeing, da da da. I don't like doing past and future because I think sometimes we trip up and we give over our power to here's what it has to be like. No, we are always full of possibilities. Anything is possible. And when we're like, this is how it has to be, we're stripping away potential. We're stripping away potential. And I really don't like that. And so I've always read with how can we move forward? What does integrity look like? And so there's so much symbology in them. And some people dive deep into the symbology, but it's not been, I mean, I've done some, but it's not been the lion is here, which means XYZ every time, right? Or the king is here, which means this person is in your life, and some people read like that. And some people get really into the numerology, or there's different layers of it, right? Or the history of it. The way I read and have learned in the last few years as well is important to me is that my readings are laced with joy and delight. My readings are laced that spirit has your back and your soul is good. If it's not rooted in that, I don't fucking want it. I don't want it. And I've had readings that have not been laced in that, and it feels so different and not my favorite. And that is a different conversation for a different day, because there's been big impacts that has had in my life and has heavily influenced why I read the way I read. Okay. And I've seen the impact it's had on other people. Okay. And that's not to say if you're reading very specifically in a specific way that you're doing it wrong. And there's grifters and there's scam artists and there's people who do not have your highest intention at the core of their readings in any realm you walk in, right? You can go to a car salesman, you get a good car salesman, you get a bad car salesman, right? Same thing in the tarot community. There are some people that read for power and to tap in. And there are some people that are there to read to help you get more clarity and put power back in your seat, right? To put you back in alignment with your higher power in whatever way that looks like. And different people will give you different answers on this. And I say this because it's really important to trust your gut when you're getting a reading or when you're trusting somebody with that, because they're tapping into your energetic field. You know, they're tapping into your connection with your higher power and whatever that looks like, and whatever permission you give them. And different people have different levels of seeing and listening and hearing. It's a whole other conversation as well. I'm like trying to like keep us on track to the imposter syndrome. But I know what I know when it comes to tarot. And I know that if people would like to learn in a way that is engaging and kind and clear to help them get their hands on cards and practice and play, I am exquisite at that. I am a very good teacher for that, to help them find their access point to reading and listening to their intuition. Because for me, half the game is your intuition and listening and trusting that, and then sharing it out loud. That's what I'm great at, is getting people connected here. The cards are just a tool. They're a tool I really like, but they're just a tool. And so my tarot class is less focused on the symbols, less focused on the history, less focused on the esoteric part of it, and more focused on how are we listening here, and how are we using this tool of cards to listen and share and connect with ourselves, our higher power, and the people around us with intention, integrity, kindness, and clarity. And there's a part of me that's like, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Isn't that funny? Isn't that interesting? Things that make you go, So since this morning, I got ready. I put on my makeup. I was like, okay, we got this. And I just kept thinking about it. And I was like, man, if I'm wrestling with this and thinking about this morning, how much are other people who are getting into something new, trying something new, also like, I don't know anything. I can't do this. I can't do this. Last year was my first day teaching a 3-day workshop in henna, and it went beautifully. This will be my first time teaching a tarot 3-day workshop. It'll go beautifully, and things will go wrong. It'll mix match, right? There was the first time I led a retreat. Pros and cons. Good things happened, weird things happened, right? Like I had everybody stay up till 2 a.m. because I had things we had to do. I should have let people go to bed, right? We didn't know. I didn't have coffee. I didn't know. I don't drink coffee. Some people do. Who knew? Now I know, right? But every time we do something new, it's going to feel edgy. It's going to feel like, okay, can I do this? And then our job is to be like, I got pulled here for a reason. There's something here for me to do, to show up to the best of my ability and do the next right thing. So if you're struggling for imposter syndrome, look at your evidence. Right? Because I'm sure like you've listened to this and you've heard me kind of talk about henna and my perspective on tarot, and you're like, AJ, you know your shit. Like, why are you struggling? Exactly. So get up your like evidence list of why you're good at what you're doing, why this is pulling you, why this is tugging you. Because even at first, when I was getting tarot, I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know. But like, I know in my gut. If you got that like knowing here, trust that, lean into that, let it tug you along. Trust the process. Okay. And then the other part is just be willing to learn, be willing to have things go sideways, be willing to, my coach Julia says this, and she's like, be willing to be the villain. And I hate that so much. And I am working on it. Because as you grow in visibility in things, you're going to become people's not favorite human. People will not like me. There are people who don't like me. You will become the villain in some people's stories simply because you are listening to your gut and your nudge and you're not doing things the way they may want you to do it. There's a lot of nuance there, but there comes a point when we have to choose, am I listening to my gut, right? And like, I've got so many podcast episodes on that. So if you're like, how do I do that? Go listen to those or come work with me one-on-one. But sometimes we have to be like, I don't know how all of this is going to turn out, but I know this is where I need to be. I can feel it in my bones. And that is a win. When imposter syndrome says, yeah, but you shouldn't really be here, we say, and yet here I stand. And yet here I am. Maybe I shouldn't, but I know this is where I need to be. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to show it to the best of my ability. And then you just like drop the mic and that's where you stand. Or you hold the mic and then you do the thing. So trust the process, do the next right thing. If you are at Sherwood, I will see you shortly, but you're listening to this 4 weeks later. So maybe I just saw you at Sherwood. All over. Check if you're halto, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, overwhelmed, sick. Drink some water, eat some food, kind to yourself, be kind to the people around you. Live in a big world, but also it means you can be big and wild. Bye, my friends.